Welcome back to the All Things Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Julian. I got my brother Rios with me. You already guys know what it is. Shout out to Reef pulling up with me today, man. I'm hyped. NFL training camp is here.
I know. Yo, I smell it in the air. It's officially how many days till football starts? 48 days?
Like 47, 40-something, 47, I think. Yeah.
Oh, man.
We here.
I can smell it.
It's about to be August. I could tell, like, the weather outside. I think this past Saturday, I was sitting in the crib and I'm like, yo, it just feels like college football season. You know what I'm saying? It just feels like I could tell it's about to be. It was like around 4 o'clock. I'm like, Georgia's supposed to be playing some SEC matchup right now.
You know what's crazy too? Because I mean, I love baseball. Don't get it twisted. But I hate that that break that for All-Star. Well, granted, we had the World Cup saved our ass this year.
Yeah.
So we didn't have those 2 days of no sports. You know,
thank God.
After the All-Star break, thank God. But I will say this, man. I need my college football Saturdays back, man.
Yep.
I just need them back. Like I need the slant. I need the vibes on Twitter back again. I need the slander back again. I just need it, man. And especially you too. Listen, Miami's back. All right. Yeah. USC's back. Yeah. So the landscape of college football, man, is going to be way better than ever. Like I said, when those two teams are really good and they're rocking, man, just the sport as a whole is just way better. So I mean, we're gonna get on the NFL tip, but real quickly, like Miami and USC being back now, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. This year, turn this all the way up.
What real quick, because we're gonna talk about college football as a whole probably later this week, early next week. We'll get into that. I wanted to get into touching the grass with this NFL training camp. All 32 teams, have reported so far. So, real quick, like, who do you got as like your top four in college football? As I start,
all right, my top four. Okay, so we'll do a quick top four. So I got Ohio State as of now. I mean, there's no order. So I got Ohio State. I have Oregon. Oregon's in there. Like I said, I believe they have the best quarterback returning in college football back in Dante Moore. I'm very big on Georgia. Like I said, their defense. They had a lot of underclassmen on defense. A lot of them are returning back next year. Did I mention Miami?
Yeah.
Did I mention to you already? Yeah, man. I mean, listen. 4, I'd probably say Notre Dame. Okay. Like I said, Notre Dame has a lot of starters coming back too as well. And 5 as a wild card. Now, people are gonna laugh at me, and you're like, "Oh, well, how do you whatever?" But Alabama. It's Alabama or Texas. Alabama or Texas in the top 5 for me. You don't think so?
I mean, I think their quarterback situation is what's holding me back from like giving them the respect that maybe they do deserve. But I would put, in my opinion, I would put Texas over Alabama. I'm not mad at, it's Alabama, so like I do respect it. But right now, you put those 4 teams, Oregon, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, and you put them next to Bama, and I don't know, man. To me, I don't think. I have a question. I think they're top 10. I don't think they're top 5.
I have a question for you, right? And I've been reading this a lot too. Do you think?
Like, I'm sorry, you said UGA, right?
Yeah.
You said UGA, Miami, Notre Dame in no order, and then Ohio State. So then Texas, Indiana,
right. I think that 5th spot, right? But Indiana's a wild card because, like I said, a lot of seniors left. Like I call Indiana the James Madison Renaissance and takeover. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I'm interested to see what Curt Cignetti does and how he recuperates all those seniors, all that talent that went to the NFL. Yeah. So they're the wild card to me. But I have a question for you. Like, and I've been like looking at a lot of the CFP rankings. I really think outside the top 4, there's a significant drop off in talent. And just team talent.
Yeah. Like, well, I think you still got to show respect to Texas, right? You still got to
Right.
show. Indiana's the champion, and I get, you lose seniors, but you have a lot of guys coming back that were there and did win and did experience, what it was last year. And the target's on their back for sure. Big Ten football is no joke, but I'm looking for like a team like LSU, right? With a coach, Lane Kiffin, new coach. I think that they're going to come in with Sam Levitt and Garrett Nussmeier, to me, it never was what others maybe thought he was going to be.
Right. And also, too, he was playing with injury the majority of last year.
Whatever it was, I still don't think he's Sam Levitt. And I don't think that, Sam Levitt and Lane Kiffin's relationship and what they can be is what we're going to, anything close to what last year's rendition of LSU football was. So that's going to be a mix. And then Texas A&M with Marcel Reed is a really, to me, a good team.
Interesting, because interesting.
Fair enough. And then also, who's the other team that I was thinking of? Aggies, and I mean Alabama, right? Like Alabama's in a situation too where their coach
DeBoer's on the hot seat.
DeBoer is like, yeah, he's going to coach his ass off this year, so they're going to be hungry. And I think he's also at a point where, like, all right, he's got 2 seasons in at Alabama, right? First year was really shaky. Last year, understandably so, and whatever you want to call it, but here's year 3, and this is like the make or break. Like, is DeBoer going to be the guy going forward for Alabama, or are they going to have to just figure this out again? So a lot of pressure there. However, it could be for better for Alabama. So That's kind of how I see it.
Right. Me too. Right. But I agree with you as well on those points. But let's get into some NFL football.
Yeah, we got a lot, bro. We got some headlines I wanted to talk about. We got headlines I want to talk about. We got questions from the listeners, and we appreciate all the questions from the listeners that we're going to get into. And obviously training camp comes injury reports, and we hate this part of football season, but it's a part of the sport, and you got to survive camp to even make it to the season to then try to survive the season. So with all that being said, let's start off with the positives. Jalen Carter gets extended, and he gets his highest paid defensive tackle. Denzel Ward gets his contract extension, and Grant Delpit get his contract extension. So talk to me about Jalen Carter. If you guys don't know him, first of all, you should know him. But if you don't, first game of the year last year, he spit in Dak Prescott's face. Go watch it.
Hey, listen, man.
That's probably how you'll remember him.
I'm a Giants fan, so I'm not happy about that. I got to deal with him for what, 5 more years now?
Yeah.
So, I'm not happy about it. But, I mean, for the Eagles, bro, Howie Roseman, what's that mean? What did Jesse say in Breaking Bad, bro? He can't keep getting away with this, bro. He really can't keep getting away with this, man. And I really believe Howie Roseman, he really is on some the Eagles now are starting to become like, I don't even want to say this. This sounds, they're moving like the mid 2000s Patriots. And what I mean by that is this, right? They're cutting players a year before you see the discrepancy. You know what I mean? So they're doing the old Patriots method. For example, right? They got rid of Darius Slay, right? We saw how that worked out for Pittsburgh, right? Mm-hmm. They moved up Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean up to starters, right? And we saw what happened with that now, right? So both all pros, right? Well, Q was an all pro, and you had Cooper DeJean as a Pro Bowler. So they're lucking out with these players now with the draft. So it's kind of interesting to see them extend Carter. But now, like I said, the NFL's a what have you done for me lately type of business. Mm-hmm. So we may see.
Yeah, you got to stay relevant.
Yeah, you got to stay relevant. So although he got $152 million, you know what I'm saying? Like that may change depending on injuries, depending on production on a production standpoint too. But also too, the Eagles, man, and they're still under the cap. So next year they can still they still have holes they can fill next year. Let's say they don't make the playoffs, or they make the playoffs and they have some discrepancies on offense. They can easily fill those up now too. So like I said, man, in order for you to lock in the best defensive tackle, because games are won in the trenches, which we already know that will never change. So being the fact that you locked in, and arguably to me, he's the best defensive tackle in football.
And this is a talent. Yeah.
That honestly, that they stole him. Let's be real here. They stole him in the draft. So it's just
first of all, shout out to Yusuf.
Yo, facts. Yusuf,
real
hell
quick,
yeah, bro.
I just
They
wanted to
hacking
shout
the
out
cap.
Yusuf in the chat. You
They
know,
hacking the cap.
and this is the moral of the story right here. You draft good, your team's good. And just to your point, Rio, is like they stole him. He had the situation at UGA where he got in that car situation, and he fell in the draft. And it's either at this point, you're either gonna take the guy and take a chance on the guy who might have character issues, but is it all world talent, or you're gonna let him go to a team. What did the Eagles pick him at? 21, I think. There was no reason Jalen Carter should have dropped out of the top 5. So
made no sense.
You know, and guess what? For all the people and GMs in the league that, you know, don't want to deal with the character issues, or you don't want the talent in your locker room. That's kind of all you're telling me with that, because get out of here, bro. And get also Jalen Carter is an all-world player.
Right. And also too, if you look at the Eagles, man, right? Look at all those look at all the heaters they've had from rounds 4 through 7. And that's how Super Bowls are won.
Yep.
When you pick those players from rounds 4 through 7. So like I said, man, it's a testament to Howie Roseman, how good he's been the past 5-6 years. Right. So man.
Shout out to their GM, to their scouting department. You know, they're drafting extremely well, and they're developing well as well. I mean, Quinyon Mitchell obviously was a standout pick, and we knew he'd be a real talent. But guys like that, you have to give them the exposure. You have to give them the opportunity, you know, and Cooper DeJean, right? So there's like a belief system in Philadelphia where there's, first of all, they have structure. Philly's never been like the rebuild team. They've never been just ass. They did go through their trials and tribulations from after their Super Bowl to like then drafting Jalen Hurts and like building him into their starter. But it was never bottom of the league. It was never like embarrassing of a team. They've always managed to be decent and figure things out with great coaching and again, the ability to scout and draft and develop. So through all that, they've maintained themselves as one of the premier franchises in the league, and now they're just going to continue to take advantage of teams that are either sleeping on players and sleeping on free agents.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And they're working the phones. Howie's working the phones on them trades, bro. This is a no sleep league, and if you do, you know, for example, as a Colts fan, Chris Ballard is in year 9 now, I think, and he's up for contract negotiation. And I don't think he should get a contract. He doesn't think he should get a contract redone until we win, because we've been sold a big dream and you know about the 2018 draft class that he home runned, and a lot of those guys aren't there. Shout out to Big Q, still there, but you know, to be honest, we haven't won shit, and you could look at your quarterback situation and feel bad for yourself, or you can try to figure things out otherwise. And there's been other free agents that we could have attacked, and we didn't.
Right, and I'll say this too. What a lot of teams are doing now, I think a lot of teams now are they're really working what I believe is the this new method. Whereas if it's quarterback trial by error, right? So for example, the Raiders, right? So like, and even what the Falcons did with Michael Penix, right? So you have Kirk Cousins, right? He's your bridge guy, right? So they're going to sign the bridge guy, right, for a substantial amount of money, right, to keep him there. Then you draft your rookie, keep on rookie scale, and then after that, you pay the bridge guy to tutor the rookie. So I feel like that's the new trend now, is paying these bridge quarterbacks a little higher money so they can train the rookie quarterbacks. I mean, if you look at what the Raiders are doing now with Kirk Cousins, right? Who would think they would take on that contract, right? But then you see, hey, they drafted Mendoza. So I believe that's going to be the trend moving forward in the NFL now.
Yeah, no, it definitely pays. It definitely pays to pay. And sometimes you got to be lucky, right? And sometimes you strike out. But you're never going to win if you don't try. That's one thing this league has shown. You're never going to just like fall into a Super Bowl. Look at Kansas City Chiefs and what they've built with this dynasty. Patrick Mahomes, granted, turned out to be the best quarterback in the league for the decade. Cool. But they've attacked free agency and they've attacked the draft. I mean, they just traded. This is something of what the Eagles did. They just traded their best corner and just drafted a rookie, right? Mansour Delaney from LSU was going to be a stud corner, but they just let what's his name go to LA Rams. I forgot number 22.
I know you talk. McDuffie.
Thank you, McDuffie. One of the best corners in the league.
Right, and the thing is now too is I believe now a lot of teams now are starting to realize, hey, we need to penny pinch now, and this is just all across the NFL now. I feel as if now teams are just realizing that, hey, signing that big free agent minus I'm not gonna account for edge rusher and quarterback. Right, those are difference making positions to where you spend the money to go get an edge rusher, you spend the money to get a quarterback if you need to get that. Those positions are outliers. But if we're talking corner, linebacker, some of these other positions, right? Then you kind of can scale it out and get a rookie, and then just build upon depth. Oh.
You good, Ree?
Okay. All right. So that's all. So pretty much, I think that's the new trend going on with the NFL. And you know who set that trend right now is the Eagles. So moving forward, I believe Howie Roseman really set the blueprint on how a modern NFL team needs to be built now, which is depth through the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So now, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So now I want to ask you, right? So we can segue onto this, right? So speaking about, extensions, right? Let's talk about the Browns, man. They shut up their secondary. They just re-signed Delpit, right? They re-signed Denzel Ward, who I think is a future Hall of Famer, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I want your thoughts. Honestly, I want your thoughts on Cleveland, man, because Cleveland is they're an intriguing team for me this year, right? Like I said, they have, the quarterback situation is already that could be a whole episode by itself. The Cleveland Browns quarterback situation, that could be a whole episode by itself. But overall team landscape, right? Let's talk about just what do you think they're going to be. I think to me personally, I'm not going to lie, I think they're the most interesting football team right now in the NFL, just because you have a defense that is pretty stellar, right? I mean, you got rid of Myles Garrett, right?
Yeah.
Which whatever, that was the writing was on the wall with that, right? But even without him,
you replaced him with fucking Jared Verse, so
it's like there's really no drop off with that, right? They've always had an elite secondary, right? Even if they stunk, even with their offensive woes, right? They've been able to force turnovers, right? The defense has been able to put points on the board, right? So I think the glaring issue with the Browns is who you start at quarterback. So you know what? Fuck that. Let's ask that question, bro. Who are you going for quarterback, man?
By the way, shout out to the chat. I do want to say all the listeners right now listening live.
For real shit.
We appreciate y'all, man. Ray, shout out to you, Jason, Yusuf. One of y'all boys throw the chat link. Throw the link in the chat. I need everybody tapping in right now on Twitter, everything. Shout out to y'all boys, man. But look, I was actually on the way to the gym today, big leg day, with Unc, man, and I was talking to him, and I was just saying, like, yo, Cleveland's got, first of all, Kevin Stefanski's out the picture, and we're gonna get into Atlanta and their quarterback situation, which is he just jumped out of one situation and went to another. So Todd Monken comes in from Baltimore, which Lamar Jackson's going to feel. I do think he's going to feel the loss of Todd Monken there. And he finds himself in a situation where he was coaching one of the best players in the league, an two-time MVP of the league. And now he's going to a situation where he is going to coach a quarterback who's making a tremendous amount of money on an overpay, and someone who you can say was maybe taken too late in the draft or whatever the case, overlooked, and Shedeur Sanders, who comes with a lot of attention. For me, if I just wanted to like give a quick answer, it's like they're gonna start Deshaun Watson. If he wins the bat on training camp, he's making $50+ million. To have him on your bench, I don't think Jimmy Haslam, owner of the Browns, is gonna be like content with having all that money sitting on the bench doing nothing, especially if he's healthy. I do believe personally you have a true battle in camp, and you give both of them a fair shot with equal eyes, and whoever wins that battle in camp should start. This isn't, to me, just start Shedeur Sanders. Just start, because you got to do what's best for the team at the end of the day. And I'm a Shedeur Sanders fan. I want to see him succeed. He's a Pro Bowler for what it's worth. But you also got a 30-year-old ex-Pro Bowl quarterback who is coming off of injury and has been healthy, and who can play ball. Whether you feel like this or that about him personally, that's not what we're here for. I'm sorry. Like, this is the NFL. He's still making money. He's still the quarterback on the Browns. And so for me, again, I think you let them battle it out in camp and just use your eyes from what you saw all your years in Baltimore, as Coach Monken did, and say, I need this guy to be my starter. And Shedeur Sanders, to me, has a fair chance to beat Deshaun Watson in a camp, because Deshaun Watson has rust, right? He can't just come back and be who he once was. But I, again, don't want to just go so far to say, like, I like Shedeur Sanders more than Deshaun Watson, so he should start. No, you got to give the team the best chance to win. And if Deshaun Watson wins that battle in camp and has better rapport with the receiving group, and you know that there's a better connection there, whatever the case is, you give him the job. But this is something that at the end of the day is a week-by-week thing, to where your job can be taken. It's not like you name the starter and, all right, Deshaun Watson's locked in for the year. No, he goes, and, you know, everybody's allowed to have a leash, right? You can have a bad game. It's the NFL. You're going to struggle as a team. But whoever wins that job, you got to, like, know, hey, still somebody on your ass right now trying to win this job back. So, I think it's just 50-50. You give them a fair shot, and what we're not in camp every day, right? We're not watching the reps. We're not watching the rapport and the relationship that they're building with the O-line and with the play calling and with the wide receiver group. So whatever I trust, whatever Todd Monken sees, being as though he's coached a 2-time MVP quarterback and has gone to multiple playoff games and an AFC championship, you know, in the biggest stage. So, that's how I feel about that.
Now, this is my take on this Browns quarterback situation, right? I mean, you have to start Deshaun. You have to, because you have to save your. If you're the Browns front office, you have to save your ass, right? Because if you think about it this way, right, Deshaun Watson is a $50 million cap hit, right? So pretty much, if you think about it this way, right, if you start Shedeur, right, you look at all. You start thinking, let's say Shedeur starts playing well, right? Now, let's say this situation where Shedeur starts playing well, right? Now, you're going to think, oh, shit, that $50 million could go to what? Other things across the team, right? So you don't want that as a front office. Unfortunately, you don't want that. Although I think, you know, Shedeur, from reports I've read, they've looked pretty much the same at camp, right? Because, like I said, it's a $50 million cap hit, right? And no team can afford that. No matter, I don't care how good you are, right? So that's just the issue, and that to me, that's the only reason why he's going to start. Now, the game sample size, right? That's on the coach on what leash Watson gets, but it has to be Watson, and just because of the cap hit.
So, and this isn't the NBA where you can just trade a guy and match the money and start using it somewhere else. Look at the Dolphins. They're literally in cap
Dolphins are in
hell.
hell. They're in hell.
And granted, I do like Malik Willis. I'm rooting for him. And
Malik Willis has Malik Willis, I'll say this, bro. And I'm gonna say this real quick about Malik Willis. He has the greatest job in America right now. Because you know why? If the team stinks, is it his fault?
It's not.
Exactly.
They don't even have enough money to pay necessary position groups. But just going back to Cleveland, and I hope everybody's reading these comments because you guys are saying a lot of truths here. As much as I agree with you, and there is the political side of it where, yes, you should just cut him if you're going to bench him. That's kind of what it is. You should cut him if you're going to bench him. But again, you at camp, we're going to have over the next month and a half to see who deserves to be the starting guy. And as fans of the game, we can't no longer say Stefanski, bro. He just hates Shedeur. Stefanski. It's not about Stefanski no more. We're gonna see the truth about what a guy who's coached an MVP quarterback feels about Shedeur Sanders in this camp. And it's real quick. It's fair to let Deshaun start the season as Shedeur is in his second year. He's still a young quarterback. He's still somebody who has a lot of room to grow, as we saw. It's not like Shedeur Sanders came out and just was, oh my God, how do you can't put him on the bench? It's not there yet. However, he does deserve more opportunity as like the future of the franchise. So it's just a mixy situation. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna piggyback on what you said too, right? Like you mentioned with Shedeur, right? Like I said, right? It's not that much of a cap hit now. But also, too, like I said, with Deshaun, it's the front office. You have to save your ass. If you are the Browns GM, you have to save your ass. So even if the Browns stink next year, right? You start Watson, right? The cap hit doesn't look that bad, right? It doesn't look that bad. Whereas next year, right? Let's say you wait next year, the year after, right? Then that's when you can evaluate the books and make those changes. You know what I'm saying, with the dollar amount, and then your cap hit won't be as much to where you can sign, you can get a line, right? You can get receivers for Shedeur, right? Or whoever you may choose as the starter, right? And I've heard reports where if you trade Shedeur, right? But then if you think about trading Shedeur, if trading a rookie for a rookie scale contract doesn't do anything for real.
Nope.
Right? So I don't think that's going to be on the option.
And also, okay, the other thing is that, like, say Deshaun Watson does start and balls out. Like, let's say for whatever Deshaun Watson balls out and like deserves a new contract. Like, that's a weird situation too, because you can't deny his talent if he's balling again. And yes, somebody made the point. I think it was Yusuf saying, like, or Jason said, like, even before his Achilles, he was stinking it up. And I think Deshaun Watson was in his head, right? He was going through a lot of shit. Let's be honest. He's a good quarterback, and we know what Deshaun Watson has been in the league.
Listen, people forget he led the league in passing, I believe, 4 years ago.
Being a has-been is a has-been, and 4 years ago is like dog years in the NFL.
It's a long time. Long time in NFL years.
I'm not gonna act like that, but again, 30 years old, still a lot of, you know what I'm saying? Still a lot of time for him to be able to turn that shit around. So we got D York saying Watson started his first 4-6 games and either Shedeur gets traded or Watson benched. Yusuf said too many cases on his mind. And then Mel said, how could you be in your head when you got all right.
Mel, come on, bro. Come on, dog. You ain't lying. Mel, you ain't lying. You ain't lying.
You're not. But at the same time, when you're the $50 million man and it's all guaranteed and you got a group of 52 other guys looking at you sideways, cause like it's a lot of pressure. And granted, you're on one of the worst franchises in the league. I hate to say it, but I mean, we've ever since I've grown up,
and also
Cleveland ain't been shit.
Also too, if it doesn't work out, if let's say the Deshaun Watson thing doesn't work out, right? To me, it's the worst free agent signing in the last 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. But the best thing for Deshaun Watson about this to me is that he has nothing to lose. We've already like chalked it up as the worst free agent signing. We've already said how horrible the contract is. We've already made all the jokes that we can about the man and slandered him, dragged his name, deservedly so.
Right.
However, he still has the golden opportunity ahead of him to start on an NFL franchise this season. And so with that, you do what you can. And if you make the most of that, people will forget. If you make noise and you win games, bro, what they say about winning, it cures everything. Granted, it's the Browns. They ain't been to the playoffs since the Baker Mayfield. You know what I'm saying? And fuck that up. But there's not much downside to Deshaun Watson's situation if it's him, because he's still gonna get the money. We still gonna hate on him. People still gonna clown him. Just win.
Right. And let's say, right, he has a good season, right? You can reevaluate the books. You know what I mean? You can still reevaluate the books. Say, hey, Deshaun, take less money on the back end, right? We can get you some talent, right? So now that $50 million cap hit turns into a $40 million cap hit. So now you could do in the NFL, you could do a lot with $10 million in the cap.
Yeah.
So
all right. So this is a interesting point. Mel says they should just Ohtani him, pay him like 1.5 for the next 50 years. And you can't do that in football. It doesn't work like this. And also, I'll talk about this on another episode whenever anybody wants to get into this. We're not going to have a baseball season next year.
Baseball's done next year. Baseball's done next year.
This is the reason why. This guy Ohtani and what the Dodgers have done to the league is cooked.
And
so
also, too,
hopefully they don't.
And also, too, let's be real here. I will say this on the baseball segment, though. Shorten that service time. Shorten that service time.
Yeah, bro. Fucking 14-year. What is this? All right. So I think we've extended our Browns conversation. I didn't know this was the Cleveland Dog Pound.
The Dog Pound podcast. Yeah, shout the Dog Pound pod though, bro. They really be going through it on Twitter, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. That's one shit I can't wait for, bro. Week 1, man. The Dog Pound pod, bro. Shout them out though. They're a cool bunch. They're a cool bunch.
Hey man, but as you mentioned, to finish up with them, they've shored up their defense and extending Denzel Ward, deservedly so, and Grant Delpit. Shout out to Grant Delpit. All right, we talked about this crazy quarterback situation and Kevin Stefanski going to another one. So in Atlanta, there's reports saying Tua Tagovailoa has this injury now. He's going to be missing some time. He flared up, and Michael Penix woke up with some lower back soreness that now it's looking like, 4 weeks or so he's gonna miss from camp. That's goddamn the whole camp.
Penix been hurt the past 10 years, bro. Even since his days at Indiana, bro. He's always been hurt, man. All right.
Now, but they signed Cooper Rush, right? They signed Cooper Rush, ex-Dallas Cowboy backup, and to me, it's just so inopportune for one as a coach. You walk into the situation, you're like, you know what? We'll sign Tua on a cheap ass deal, nothing to lose here. He gets hurt.
And Tua was balling in minicamp from what the reports have been.
I mean, Tua is like Deshaun Watson. I don't want to do this comparison in the sense that he was dealing with a lot mentally, and Tua's a good quarterback, bro. Tua led the league in passing yards before. Tua is one of the more, if not the most accurate quarterback in football, but he dealt with a lot of injuries and he had a lot of things going on to me mentally that blocked him from like excelling in the game. You put Tua with Drake May, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts. I mean, you got
Drake. Yeah, you got Drake London, Kyle Pitts, right? You got
Drake London.
You got that rookie Zacchaeus.
Yes.
Right. So you got some talent around you, man. Oh, and they also got Brian Robinson too.
Yeah. Oh, they did sign Brian.
Right. So you pretty much have you. I think to me, fantasy wise, that's a top 5 running back handcuff tandem, fellas. All right, keep that in mind, y'all. For my fantasy football owners, Bijan, handcuff that if you take Bijan in the first round, right? So now, I do believe with the Falcons, right? Like I said, right, the NFC South, bro, is a crapshoot. I can roll some dice and anybody win that shit. So even with the injuries right now, right, we don't know what the South as a landscape is going to look like, right? Like I said, Tampa, right, Vita Veda, he's about to be out of there, right? They lost Mike Evans, right? So now you have Ibuka, right? You have Ibuka, and you also have the other receiver, Jennings, right? You want to see how they progress at the core of Baker Mayfield, right? And also, we don't know what that's going to look like, right? We also don't know what the Saints are going to look like with Tyler Shaw, right? They're a young team, right? Yeah. With Travis Etienne and Kamara. We don't know what they're going to look like, right? Carolina, right? I believe they came back from a lot of games last year, right? In the fourth quarter, right? And we know how that goes the year after that, right? So, like I said, the NFC South is really a crapshoot, man. Anybody could win that, if you ask me. So, like I said, even if Tua starts or Penix starts, right? You still have a decent shot, bro. And it's only for training camp that they're out. So, like I said, there's no real big significant injury that's going on with those two guys. So, like I said, the South is a crapshoot, man. And I want to ask you, who you think will win the NFC South this year, man? Because I believe that's the most questionable division right now in all of the NFL.
With this quarterback situation and the health thing, it makes me nervous to say that the Falcons are going to win. I do agree with Yusuf here when he said that he thinks Kevin Stefanski is going to get Kyle Pitts more involved and he's going to have a great fantasy year. I agree, but I can't bank on Tua and Penix staying healthy for me to trust them enough. Right. I do like what Tyler Shuck's done in New Orleans and what
he's shown a lot of promise. A lot of promise.
And then Vita Vea, if I'm Tampa, I'm not trading Vita Vea. Fuck your trade request. Like you're the number one guy in the middle. Shut up and fucking disrupt some offense. But the Panthers, to me, I think we're gonna see Bryce Young take that next step. Last year was like he was in the midst of taking that next step, and it was ups and downs, right? You're gonna deal with that, but you saw the rise of Jalen Coker. I think Xavier Legette is gonna continue to get better, and
you got my boy Tedero McMillan,
and you got T4, and so did they re-sign Rico Dowdle? I'm not sure about that. Did they re-sign Rico Dowdle?
I'm not sure.
Hubbard,
look that up.
Somebody fact check for me if they got Rico Dowdle, because I mean that was a really, really good year they had over there with him. But and then on the defensive side, you got some ballers too. So for the division being what it is, and Tampa Bay kind of taking a step back, I do trust Baker Mayfield. Okay, Rico went to the Steelers. Right. Tampa Bay taking that step back. I do trust Baker Mayfield as like the QB1 of the division. But Chris Godwin, we can't trust him to stay healthy. That receiver room is a little shaky. Cade Otton hasn't panned out to me as that true tight end one. And so, yeah, I think Carolina showed a lot of excitement. Granted, to your point, they were, the comeback kings last year. But it's about progressing. It's about getting better and developing talent. And they have a lot of young talent over there. So I'll take that. They said they want that guy. They want that Texas guy, Brooks and Hubbard.
Hey, listen, man. I'm gonna say this, bro. As a Jonathan Brooks dynasty fantasy football owner, bro, it's about time, bro. I'm fiending. I'm fiending, itching. Because I took him in the second round. That's why. Yeah. In dynasty, bro. So yeah, I need that.
And then going back to Bijan Robinson, him and Jahmyr Gibbs, two of the top running backs in the league, are holding out right now, not practicing with contract negotiations because they're trying to be and to me, this is interesting because they're both arguably, the two of the best backs in the league. Wherever you want to put them, they're two top 3, top 4 running backs in the league. And not only are they both negotiating or trying to negotiate contracts at the same time and holding out, so they're not getting their reps with, Tua is the new quarterback. So Bijan's not getting his reps with his new quarterback, but they're going to be competing for who's making more money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, what's he going to try to get? And they're going to hold out for a long time trying to compete with that dollar sign.
And my fear is I don't want, for those running backs too, I don't want a 2017 situation again where it was Zeke and Melvin Gordon. Right, to where one holds out longer than the other just for extra pennies on the dollar. Like I said, running backs, we know what it is. We know what it is, right? How running backs get paid, right? And it's not fair, right? And it's really not fair how they pay these running backs, right? We could all agree on that. Now, but it's just the fact that you can make a case. To me, I think Gibbs should be the highest paid running back in the league just based off the passing production that he's allowed, so that he brings to the Lions, whereas Bijan he's a 3-down back, but you can make a case that, okay, well, his first year, he really didn't pop off like that, to where he was like, all right, he's the clear cut going to be the best running back in the league. Like I said, it's just a matter of the overall what have you done for me lately type production. And I think Gibbs' ability in the passing game, I think that gives him just a slight edge in the dollars. And also, too, they've been winning. The Lions have been a winning franchise for the past couple of years. So that also goes into the play of, contract negotiations, right? So, like I said, you don't want it to be a 2017 situation where you have Melvin Gordon and Zeke holding out at the same time, and one holds out because one is getting.
But that is the situation. So, I mean, it is the situation.
Right.
And so at the end of all right, Yusuf said he sidelined the Lions a bit. It's not, if they're going to figure, first of all, they are negotiating with these running backs. It's not like there's no contract, going on and trying to make them hold on to the season.
And I think people forget too about the Lions too. They also dished out a lot of money too. They've paid they paid Amon-Ra, right? They paid Laporta got his money early, right? And Goff got his money early too. And so did Tyler Campbell. So it's a lot of money on those books. And also too, what's his name got paid too? Kirby Joseph got paid.
And so Kirby Joseph is injured.
Right. So you have a lot of money on the books allocated to those guys. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Lions do, though. Because like I said, you got rid of Montgomery. So money should be freed up to sign Gibbs. But also, too, like I said, it's all a matter of it's all a matter of the annual dollars, I believe. That's what I believe they're fighting for, is the annual dollars. I think the money's going to add up the same. Yeah. It's going to be relatively the same contract. But like I said, it's the annual dollars per year. I think that's what they're gonna both fight for versus each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So speaking of Kirby Joseph, they're saying the Lions might start this season without him and Brian Branch. Kirby Joseph responded to fans after they were giving him some backlash from getting hurt. He said, "When you see me, just know all I do is F and work. I don't give a F what nobody else say. All I do is grind, baby. That's all I mother effing know." And, say what you want, but fans want to see you out there on that field. Mel says, I think the Lions are going to be good, but not that good this year. And I like this point right here from Yusuf saying they messed up, when they didn't hire Mike McDaniel. He went to the Chargers, and they're going to hope that they can win their first playoff game with Justin Herbert this year, just on the side there. But
I do think the Lions are going to be a wild card team. I do believe the Lions will be a wild card team. Like I said, that defense is still pretty sure enough to where that defense can win you games.
They got to be healthy though, man. They lost, Branch is not healthy, Joseph's not healthy, and they lose Terrion Arnold to strong arm robbery, kidnapping charges, which I don't even want to talk about because I'm gonna just laugh. But apparently, free him, and he's innocent. But they were 9-8 last year. I don't want to go too lower than that, but it's like they'll probably sneak in. Yeah, I think Mel and Yusuf all agree that they can probably wind up in that wild card position. J1 in the chat, shout out to J1. We about to get to questions though. We about to get to some questions that the chat and shout out to Instagram, everybody on Instagram that tapped into the podcast was asking. But before that, I just want to run through some injuries. Let me get this off real quick. Jonathan Greenard from the Eagles was traded earlier this year from Minnesota, signed a 4-year, $100 million deal, and now he has like a strained pec. They thought he might have tore it. It was worse than that, but thankfully it's not that serious, so he'll be joining them in camp soon enough. Nandi Madubuike from the Ravens practiced for the first time in 10 months. He injured his neck on some career-ending, threatening type of injury in week 2 last year, and missed all this time. So it's good to see him. Shout out to him getting back. DeForest Buckner as well with the Colts. He had a neck injury that riddled him last year, and he's back. Shout Shamar Stewart, we hate to see it, right?
Yeah, it sucks, man. That really sucks, man.
Go down in camp. We hate those guys that just go down. Brian Brees and Shamar Stewart. These are both second-year players. I think Brian Brees was a first or second round pick for the Saints. I'm not exactly sure, but Shamar Stewart, obviously being Cincinnati's first round pick last year at the end,
and especially where him and Trey, need to get that cohesive year together. They need to work together. That's big for the Bengals, man. And like I said with the Bengals, they're the trendy Super Bowl pick. Them in Jacksonville for the AFC. I'm not too sold on Cincinnati again, man. And the reason why is because, like I said.
Oh yeah, Trey went to the Ravens. Henderson did go.
Right, Trey was on the Ravens. My fault. Was on the Ravens. Yeah, I did not. Now I'm sorry. Go looking. But like I said, right, the Bengals, like I said, they're the trendy Super Bowl pick, but I think they're a little overrated this year.
I think the Bengals are overrated every year. But I mean, because they haven't built a defense. I think they finally are like, getting to like the realization that their defense needs to fucking work. However, you're not going to win with just an offense, a cute offense.
If they just had they really are like glimpses of like the early 2000s Rams, man, where it's like the defense you just need an average defense with that type of offense. Your defense just got to just be average. What I mean by average is just, you get key stops on third down in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
In at the 2-minute drill in each quarter. That's all you need. That's really all you need. And the Bengals just need an average defense. When I mean average, like I'm talking like, they can just finish 15th and they'd be in the Super Bowl. Just based off of how the production is on offense with Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase and Chase Brown. So it's like it's just sad that they're wasting, another. If you're a Bengals fan for the past 20 years, that must fucking suck, man. You've wasted 2 all-time great offenses on some shitty defenses, bro.
Yeah, I mean they did go to the Super Bowl, granted. You know what I mean?
Granted, but still, it's been 22 years of the same stuff for the Bengals, man. Yeah. So that must suck being a fan of that, man.
Real quick, Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater medically cleared. Justin Herbert has been praying on it, and so I'm glad to see that they got their tackles back because they Lord knows they need that. Sexy Dexy, they did. The Bengals did go and acquire Dexter Lawrence, which again they needed, and they needed to realize that they had to shore up something on that defensive line because 1, you're letting Trey go, and 2,
right, you got Dexter Lawrence
year after year. You said we might have to hate watch because bro didn't write a thank you message to the fans for the Giants.
Fuck him.
By the way, Rios is a Giants fan as well. Mel said the Bengals either have a good offense or a good defense, never together. I agree. And then Yusuf said Burrow got hurt last year. They were forced to start Browning until the Browns saved him with Flacco, but it was too little, too late. Yeah, I mean, look, man. To me, I'll give the credit to them as a whole, being the Bengals, when they deserve it. We've praised their offense for years,
too much,
and we've had to like give Joe Burrow the pass for year after year because of this and that, and I don't think they deserve it anymore. I think they need to realize that football is a team game, bro. You got to win on both sides.
Hell yeah.
So I didn't pre-show, by the way. I didn't go over the questions with you, so this should be kind of fun.
Yeah, I like this. I like these. These are good questions, man.
He said, I always have respect for Burrow coming back and playing Thanksgiving onwards. No, look, Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback in the league. It's not about Joe Burrow. This is not about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's great.
It's about the front office of the Bengals.
Yeah. So, all right, let's run through these questions here before we get out of here. Shout out to everybody that contributed to this because this to me is going to be fun, and I'm still like not sure how to answer one of these. But Hirsch, shout out to Hirsch, man. He says, "What team do you think wins the NFC East?" And I just want to say this, Rita, we haven't had a back-to-back NFC East winner since I think like 2004, before last year. The Eagles were able to go back-to-back, and right now you got obviously. I'll let you answer in a second. We've got Philly is like the strong contender, and then I think Dallas is the team that is trying to surprise everybody this year with keeping George Pickens, drafting Caleb Downs. He said not the Giants hat. So for me, if I could just go first, I believe the Eagles are going to go back to back to back and win this division again. I'm not sold on Dallas just yet. I know everybody, feels like Dallas can be a Super Bowl contender, dark horse, make the playoffs. I'm not buying it. They fired Ryan Clark for saying that shit on ESPN. I'm just kidding. Shout out to Ryan Clark, but I'm not buying that. I think the Eagles are the sole number one team in that division. But all right. Let me do
Yeah, there we go. My time. It's my time now. Let's go.
No. 1 second. I don't want to eat my words. The 1A and the 1B in this division are the Eagles and the Commanders. And I'm gonna let you answer that. But I do think the Eagles win the NFC East. Go ahead. What you say?
Commanders is crazy. Commanders is crazy. All right, but so now let's talk about the fucking New York Giants, baby. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants are gonna win the fucking division. All right. You could call me crazy. You could say I'm smoking crack, whatever. Right. Listen, the Giants lost a lot of close games last year, man, and that's due to just youth and inexperience, right?
Yeah.
Now, if we look at
when you say youth and inexperience, that's their quarterback not being able to slide and missing games because of injuries.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, January 6th dart, he had to tap in with the boy, you know what I'm saying? And I had to make sure I said, yo, bro, you gotta start sliding this shit, you know what I'm saying? You can't be getting that seat to even need you, right? So now, like I said, Washington, I'm not really sold on Washington just because I don't think they've improved on the defensive side of the ball enough for me personally. Like I said, the Eagles are interesting. Like I said, man, the Eagles, they had a little off year with the whole AJ Brown thing. The offense was very stagnant, right? I think that does change a little bit just because you don't have that distraction over there, right? You have Smith and you have Lemon. You have guys that you can build with for the future, right? Now Dallas, I do think they're going to realistically win the division. I'm joking about the Giants, you know what I'm saying? But I really believe that Dallas is going to win the division. Now, here's why I say Dallas will win the division, right? We all know Pickens and Lamb and what they can do on offense, right? And same with Dak Prescott, right? Now, I'm a big believer in how the Cowboys play defense, right? The Cowboys, they really take the preventative measures on defense, right? So, like I said, say what you want about Jerry Jones being senile, old, or whatever the case may be. I fuck with his draft strategy because you know his draft strategy is no matter what, we can get the best motherfucker available at whatever position that we're at, right? Regardless of position, right? And that's how I feel like you should draft. So say what you want about the Cowboys. They hit bangers in the draft, bro. So like I said, Caleb Downs I think he's going to be such a difference maker early on in that for the Cowboys, just based off the IQ, right? And the fact that they had so much holes in the secondary. So I really believe that Caleb Downs is gonna not fully fix the secondary per se. I do believe he will have a major impact on shoring up the Cowboys secondary to where in late December or in late November, right? To where when games need to be won in those cold weather those cold weather days where let's say the offense isn't clicking, right? You just got you have a short enough defense to where they can get you stops at key moments. Now, the key for the Cowboys, right, is Dak's health, right? Like I said, Dak's health, right? And really just the matter of the Cowboys offensive line staying healthy, right? The Cowboys O-line, when healthy, they're a top 5 O-line in football. So the last couple of years they've been banged up. So like I said, if the O-line stays healthy for the Cowboys, man, I really think they're going to win a division. I do believe that's the difference. I do think for the Eagles, the departure of A.J. Brown, we're going to see it pretty early on. But like I said, we haven't seen a full wide receiver one workload of Devontae Smith and what he can do.
Yeah, so but to your first point, talking about Philly, they'll trade a guy and they'll replace him.
Right, they'll trade a guy and replace him. So you never know
like he's going to be a real good rookie this year.
Right, so you never know, right? With how the Eagles, how the rookie. Well, I think Lemon's going to be. I think he's the determining factor for the Eagles right now on offense. If he pops, the Eagles' offense is on a whole other level. And I think that's going to be the difference between the Eagles and the Cowboys per se. I just don't. I'm not really sold on Washington too much, man. I love Jaden Daniels, bro. I think overall talent wise, he's the best quarterback in the division. Just overgoing overall pure talent. But like I said, they did not do enough for me on the defensive end on the football to where
I think his health. I think his health has to do with that. Let's. So you got the Cowboys. I got the Eagles.
Bro, but the Giants are making the wild card though. We're making the playoffs though. We're making the playoffs.
So that brings me to my next question. Shout out to Carlos. He asks, "Can the Giants actually make the playoffs this year?" Yes. Clearly, you just answered the question. Yes. I think you're looking through it with a fan-biased view.
Like I said, listen to me, we're excited, and the guy smoking crack, that's me right now. But
so clearly, it's a yes for you. In my opinion, I don't think the Giants are there yet. This point right here was a good point by Mel. Scatterbo is a tackle away from a concussion, and OBJ is running with no ACLs. That's just being funny. But in all seriousness, Malik Neighbors coming back. He needs help in that wide receiver room. Your wide receiver room is very thin. Your running back room, I don't think Cam Scatterbo is there just yet. And so with the youth, with losing a piece like Dexter Lawrence in the middle of the defensive line, playing against the Eagles, playing against a team like the Cowboys who just drafted extremely well and looks to be a playoff team, I don't think they'll make the playoffs either. And then the Commanders in this division, banking that Jaden Daniels can stay healthy for the year, which is really a tough ask. But hopefully he does. I think that just knocks the Giants out of a chance. So for me, my answer is no, not yet. Maybe next year.
So now I have a question for you. Realistically speaking, how many games do you think the Giants will win this year?
I would like to look at their schedule to so I can actually give you like a fair answer. I don't want to just give you 7 wins. All right, so they're gonna start their season here. Let's see, versus
they play the Cowboys week 1 always.
Yeah, they got the Cowboys Sunday night. I got it right here. So listen, Cowboys Rams 0-2. Cowboys at home, granted, which I'm going to try to get to that game. Cowboys at home.
Divisional games are 50-50. So divisional games are 50. You never know.
I say you guys can beat Tennessee and Arizona. You guys can beat New Orleans. You guys can beat Cleveland. I give this Giants team 6 wins. Like that's I think the over under is 7, but like 6 is my safe bet. Preseason week 1, you know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of where I'm at. Look at that. We got 6 here. We got 5 here.
Vegas has them at 7.5.
They got to go 1-1 in the first 2, and that's a tough ask, bro. Like 7.5 is, and see, I'm going under all the way on 7.5. I'm going under because there's no guarantee that they get 8 wins. There's no. This schedule is not favorable for the Giants. I'm going to pull it up real quick because I have it right here. I'm going to just pull it up for you guys so everybody can see right here. Boom. All right, let's take a look at this. Tough game, loss, should be a win. Tough game. Arizona's got, they played pretty good end of the year. Washington,
I'll say this about Arizona.
New Orleans, tough. Houston on the road, tough. Bye week. Right. Then you got Philly on the road. And you got Washington again, tough. Jacksonville's a tough team. Definitely not beating the Colts. San Francisco is going to be a battle. Seattle, defending champ.
Cleveland, I love how you
let me cook, bro. Cleveland, depending on Shador, Deshaun, you might get a win. Detroit on the road, Dallas on the road, Philly. Like, look how you end the season. On the road versus Detroit, Dallas, and then go to Philly. Mind you,
I go out.
these three games right here
17
are going to be so playoff implicating right here. Like, these three teams have to win these games. So, for me, they're not enough just yet. Not enough just yet.
But you said, but yeah, yo, thank you, Mello. I appreciate it. Wow, sneak, bro. Yo, wow, sneak, bro. Anyway, but I do think though that like I said, I just want to play meaningful football in December. You know what I mean? I just want to play meaningful football.
I mean, but look, it takes time. And real quick, Yusuf, we can try to set that up. Like, I'm dead trying to go. Yo. Friends, Reed's trying to go. Yeah. We could try to set that up. But
like I said, with the Giants, man, it's gonna be tough, man. But like I said, the
year away, bro. You guys are a year away, bro.
You listen. The defense.
The over under is at 7.5. You talk about can they make playoffs? You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, what are we talking about, fam? Honestly, we're spending way too much time on this question. No. Next question. Shout out to J1. Now, let's go to Okambi's question because it's kind of got to do with what I was just talking about. How do you like the Colts this year? Shout out to Okambi, fellow Colts fan. With Daniel Jones coming off of an Achilles, and we're getting like reports that he's already cleared to play. He's already moving around. Like, they're saying in camp, he looks like he hasn't even torn an Achilles. And I think Daniel Jones is a really good thrower of the football, right? I can't say he's like a really good quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. He takes care of the football. He's not if you give him protection and you give him some weapons, he's not going to just be a turnover machine. And we saw
for a fact. Yep. I agree.
It was just a shitty situation. But for me, with the Colts, Alec Pierce being the number one receiver with Josh Downs, Ashton Dulin over there.
He's on that Pierce on that PUP list, boy.
Hey, so is CJ Allen, our second round linebacker. But and we're not happy about that. But at the same time, thankfully, he ain't got to play right now. And so the season doesn't start. Jonathan Taylor makes the team go round, right? And Jonathan Taylor's a top 4 running back in this league. And so having him regardless settles me a little bit. We lose Nick Cross on defense to the Commanders, by the way. But we got Sauce Gardner. We got Sauce Gardner coming back healthy. We got Darnell Mooney on the other side. And we got Justin Wally, who got hurt last year, cornerback, who should be coming back and is exciting. Not Juju Brents, excuse me. Number 40. Forgot his fucking name. Jalen Jones.
Yeah, Jalen Jones. Yeah, I was going to say Jalen Jones.
Corner. Yeah. Long, rangy corner. We got Cam Bynum at safety as well, who had a really good year last year. DeForest Buckner coming back from injury. Grover Stewart in the middle of that defensive line. Laiatu Latu, the jury's still out. At the number 15 pick 2 years ago, he's coming into his third year. Hey, what's it going to be? I like the Colts this year to make some noise in the division. It's always a blessing that we're in the AFC South, so we're always going to have a chance to make the playoffs. Jacksonville and Houston are the other teams that we're kind of competing against in the sense of trying to make the playoffs. I think Houston, depending on CJ Stroud and how he has a season, they can either go like win the division with 11 or 12 games, or they can like try to win the division with 9 or be fighting at 9.
Right.
So I'm not sure what we're going to
get. That defense is all time
from Houston. But yeah, I do think the Colts, barring Daniel Jones' setback, I do think the Colts can continue what they started last year. I don't think we'll go 7-1 to start the year, but I do think that the Colts are going to have a really solid season. They're hungry. They want to win. It's a bunch of guys that are coming back. And so if Daniel Jones can continue what he did before the injury in Jacksonville, I do think we have a good chance at making the playoffs. Not saying we will, but that's the goal at the end of the day. Like, the Colts shouldn't be striving for like the Giants 7 games. Like the Colts should be trying to get 10 to 11 wins this year.
10 to 11 wins. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so I think we're in a good spot. I'll be honest. I do. What you got any thoughts on Indy?
No, I like I said, the AFC South, man, is such a crapshoot to me because I think it's really a 3-team race between the Colts, the Jags, and the Texans. I don't like I said, I'm not really sold. This is a division as a whole, though. I do think the Colts, with Daniel, like I said, Daniel Jones is the X factor. I gotta see how he plays after the Achilles injury, right? Mm-hmm. And also too, Yusuf made a great point too. The most underrated stat about Daniel Jones is how good of a thrower he is down the field. He was one of the most best downfield passes in the league at one point on the Giants. So just a matter of them stretching the field. I think the Colts offense, minus Jonathan Taylor, is just a big question mark. Like I said, you gave Alec Pierce that money, and shout out Alec Pierce too. He won a lot of people fantasy leagues last year. He won a lot of people in leagues last year. So salute to him. But
I love this point right here. Shane makes it easy for them because he schemes it up.
He does, but I also feel as if I do want to see Daniel Jones getting his groove back with those receivers. But those receivers being out, I think in training camp is going to hinder them just a little bit earlier on in the year, maybe preseason, I believe. But I do think the Colts are one of those teams that will fight for the wild card. Are they going to play meaningful football in December? 150% they are. So that's all that, to me, that's the key for the Colts right now. Are you going to play meaningful football in December? And do I think they will? Absolutely they will.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's that. Okambi, shout out to you. All my Colts fans out there. Man, it's been a long, right? Since Andrew Luck retired, bro, it's just been rocky roads. But flirting with the playoffs last year and then losing the way we did and everything just kind of plummeting was very hurtful. But injuries will do that every time. So we just look to stay healthy in the NFL. And in the NFL, you never know who or when someone is going to go down. So you gotta fight around that. It's no excuse. Last question we got before we get up out of here. J1, I'm going to start with his quote, and then I'll ask the question. He says, I think this is the year the Cowboys live up to expectations. I laughed in my head just because it's one of those things where like 3 years ago with the Knicks, right? The Knicks, all right, bro. I believe it when I see it kind of thing. And hey, they shut us up. They shut a lot of people up this year. Shout out to the Knicks winning their first, championship in 53 years and, making it to the third round, for the second time in as many or 20 whatever years. Cool. Who is the dark horse Super Bowl contender this year was his question, followed by he likes the Cowboys to live up to the expectations. Mel says he thinks that this is Dak's last season with the Cowboys. I think Dak is the Cowboys quarterback for the foreseeable future. Just me. Julian, you're a New Yorker now. By the way, I want to address this. He said this is the second time he's saying this. I'm not, by the way. Just for the record, no.
Yo,
I appreciate the love. I appreciate, the acceptance.
He's saying jit still.
I appreciate all of that.
Still.
But I just gotta. I live with New Yorker. I hang out with New Yorkers all the time. It's a very contagious vibe. I love it here. By the way, I must say, I love it here. Right, and I be with Harlem people. I was outside MSG on Knicks run. Yeah, brother, I'm a sports content creator. What do you expect? But if I start, you remember, bro, I can't talk like this to people like this all the time on the podcast because they're finna be like, yo, what you talking about? Cause
my son's still a Florida jit.
Also, let me address this real quick. Went to the parade. I did not. This is fake news. You're doing a Donald Trump on the podcast. I don't appreciate. I was not at the parade. I went to the parade after party that my boy I Hate Sean. Y'all boys follow I Hate Sean on Twitter where Ben Stiller pulled up and all that. You know what I'm saying? That Please Tell Me. Y'all go to Please Tell Me in Brooklyn, Williamsburg off the L train. But I gotta false accusations have to stop. Anyways, shout out to you, man. I appreciate you tuning in and fucking with us. Dark horse Super Bowl contender. You want to go first? Or you want me to give you this answer that you're not going to fuck with? Because I got an answer. I thought about this one. Not long and hard. Pause. But I did think about this one. And
go ahead. Tell me.
Again, health has to do with this. He's the best quarterback in the division talent-wise were your words. I agree. the Washington Commanders can put together another season like they did 2 years ago behind Scary Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels. They just drafted Sonny Styles, who I think can be a generational defensive player. They've got a solid defense. Somebody was saying Dan Quinn might get fired this year. I think it was Yusuf. I don't see that. I do think that the Washington Commanders, when healthy, can win the division. I said there's a 1A, 1B to that division. I do think if the matchups are favorable, they can win a Super Bowl this year. That's my answer, J1. I hope you appreciate it for what it's worth. You said you think the Cowboys live up to expectations. To me, I got to see that to believe it. We've seen what the hype can be with a rookie, Jaden Daniels. Year 3, we're hoping he's stronger than ever. He was starring in quarterback on Netflix last year. We saw him battling through the injuries and how bad it burns when he misses games. He's got something about him that I think can will that team to where they want to go. I do also believe that Dan Quinn, being a defensive coach, can hold it down. That's my take. Again, let's remember the question was dark horse. It wasn't who do I like, who's the favorite, who's my top 4. It's a dark horse. It's a very dark horse, but a horse nonetheless at Washington Commanders. Go ahead. What you got there for me?
Mine, I have the Houston Texans.
See. You just wanted to go division rival. I went division rival. You go division rival. I know your game, bro. I know your game. You just saw CJ Stroud walk into training camp looking like he was late for third period, sagging his pants with the heavy waist, bro.
Now listen, CJ Stroud, that was a wild entrance. That was a wild entrance in the training camp. Now, however, I will say this though. This Texans defense, man, I believe that they're really, 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 really good enough to where if the offense is fucking putrid and they're terrible, they can still win them games, man. So even if you look at that game against the Patriots in the playoffs, right? They granted, CJ Stroud was a 5-pack of ass, right? They were giving Mason problems too.
I never bought a 5-pack of beer. He was a 6-pack of ass.
6-pack of ass. My fault. Yeah. 6-pack of ass, right? But even although he was a 6-pack of ass, right? They were still in the game due to the fact of how great that defense was playing. So I do believe that you have, to me, I think he's the best edge rusher in football besides Myles Garrett is Will Anderson. I do believe he is the best edge rusher, not named Myles Garrett. So, and also too, you got two elite corners. You have Lancaster on one side, you got Stingley on one side, and then you also have those. You also have the safeties who they can hit. Yeah, they can hit, and you have
the
Johnson
defense is no question.
So it's like that defense to me. I ain't gonna lie. It shows. It gives me like early shades of like the Legion of Boom.
Okay.
Just mini shades. Just on how the back five play, to where like the back five is so versatile to where like they don't. There's no drop off. Let's say if Stingley's hurt, their nickel corner moves over to CB2, and the production doesn't stop. So I'm sorry, bro.
That offense, man.
But like I said, it's the offense, right? Like I said, you got Montgomery. Nico Collins, to me, I think he's a top 10 wide receiver talent in football.
And you also got Tank Dell coming back from injury, who I'm a big fan of. It's to me, and then here's where maybe I'm being a Colts fan, right? Because I would fucking hate to see the Texans win a Super Bowl, but because they're the wild card, they're the first round exit every time, in my opinion. They make the playoffs first round exit, but Ohio State quarterback winning the Super Bowl. History doesn't.
That don't sound right. It
don't sound right. And I'm not gonna just throw like these little, but brother threw 4 picks. And the Patriots defense was really good, right? They went to the Super Bowl. They were really good, but they weren't the Texans defense.
Right. That, and that's the point that I'm bringing up.
Seahawks.
That's what I'm bringing up.
And so, but what I know, but like CJ Stroud has lost against less, is what I'm saying. Like we've seen him fold in playoff games plenty of time. And so as much as they were in the game, the defense ain't going to score 21 points. The defense ain't going to put up 3 touchdowns. And so if by Thanksgiving CJ Stroud is on that rookie run he was having, because the regression in year 2 was crazy. Last year, with injuries, and we kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt. He didn't have the worst year. He didn't have the best year. But what he did his rookie year, he set the bar so high for himself and expectations to where, to me, if we're not seeing that rookie CJ Stroud by Thanksgiving, brother, it's over. Like, I don't know.
Right.
Like, how much do you pay? All right, CJ Stroud is up for his contract this year, right?
They're gonna give him an extension. Of
course they're gonna extend him. But what's that number look like if he has a year like last year or his second year next year?
Right, now that's interesting to see, right? Like I said,
because you kind of have to just give him a bag regardless. That's
right. But like I said, right, but also too, you have to look at how the market dictates itself too, right? So let's say, but also too, who's also due for an extension?
Baker Mayfield,
right, and Nico Collins too, on that team too.
Well, so it's like you got to have your priority. I mean, the quarterback comes first, really.
Right, quarterback comes first, right? But I'm saying now, that's a good question, right? How much he gets? Like I said, him and Baker are due at the same time, right? But like I said, it's all a matter to me of now, with the market now. It's the annual dollars per year in the NFL that matters now. So like, let's say they get the same amount of money.
Put it like this, just for your context. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you can.
Patrick Mahomes at 64, Dak Prescott's at 60, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, and Matthew Stafford, who just re-signed, are at 55 a year. Okay, just
right,
for context.
Okay, so I think CJ Stroud, I think he gets into like that 52 to 53 range.
Okay, Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, 53, Justin Herbert, 52, Lamar Jackson, 52, Jalen Hurts, 51. So I think he has to play himself into the Justin Herbert, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff conversation.
Right.
But if you don't, then we got to start paying you Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson's, 48, 47. Like, you're not cracking 50 with a 8-9 win season.
Right. Because a 50 people underestimate a $50 million cap hit. That's really like a that's a big hit.
That's your Super Bowl quarterback. That's your Super Bowl quarterback. And CJ Stroud to me is not the 60 Super Bowl quarterback. Look, he's going to aim for 60. Who's not going to aim for? Of course, you're going to aim for 60.
Right. The market's going to dictate itself.
And I was going to say also the money's going to go up, right? Regardless. So we'll look at this and like say we'll give him like another 2-3 million on top of that, like Trevor Lawrence. Matthew Stafford, but if Trevor Lawrence comes out and balls out over you in your division, and he's making 55, how do you go to your agent and demand 58?
Right, or even a guy in his own conference too. Like let's say who else balls out in that conference?
Daniel Jones,
or even Bo Nix.
44. Oh, you're saying the conference? I'm sorry.
In the conference, right? So Bo Nix and Bo Nix, and I think Bo Nix is going to get. I think the Broncos are another. They're a trendy Super Bowl pick too as well. So like I said, if Bo Nix has a fire season like he had last year, right, or like the season or his rookie season, right, then what? Now he has to get. I believe he's in that 55, 54 range type of quarterback. So now, like I said, that's an interesting number to pull out, right, for CJ, right? What are you going to do now, right? Because let's say if Bo Nix is going to get paid too.
Yeah.
So I feel as if with CJ Stroud, I feel as if, right, if Bo Nix is going to be the first domino to fall in terms of the quarterbacks next year that get paid, I think Bo Nix is going to dictate how everybody else gets paid. And just in terms of how the money is going to allocate itself. For next season, for how those crops of quarterbacks that need to get paid that are due on the contract, I think Bo Nix is going to be the first domino that falls, and then everybody else will follow after that. So like you said, we believe what Nix is going to get that 55 to 60 range, and deservingly so. But I think CJ is going to get, if he gets that, and let's say the Texans make the playoffs, because that'll be what the Texans will make the playoffs with three times in 4 years for him.
Yeah.
So exactly. So they would get they would get the same amount of money. But
the Broncos just went to the AFC Championship.
Right. But they got their ass kicked.
How many wins does CJ Stroud? He's 3 for 3 in the playoffs.
3 for 3,
but wild card wins, by the way.
Right, but Nick's got his ass kicked. So to me, there's no take the playoff stuff away. You gotta take the playoff stuff away. But both teams have made the playoffs 3 out of the 4 years they've been quarterback. So, like I said, it depends on who finishes where and who finishes what. Like I said, Knicks may be the first domino to fall, but also too, we have to look at the age factor too, right? Bo Nix is 29 years old. So that also plays into a factor on how he gets paid versus how CJ Stroud gets paid, gets his money. So like I said, we don't know, but I do think Bo Nix will be the first domino that falls, and that dictates CJ Stroud's contract after that.
Yeah, bro. I do agree with you there. Broncos would have been Super Bowl if Nick's ankle didn't snap. It's true.
It's a fact.
Their defense was better than Seattle. Arguably.
The
worth. So J1 said the worth to the team is important in context to add. Think about their history of the Texans QB. And again, so this is not me saying like I don't think they're going to pay CJ Stroud. They have to pay CJ Stroud. There's no doubt. I'm just concerned about like him asking for what he's going to ask for, and then are the Texans just going to fuck their books up and honor it? Now, knowing they're going to have to pay some of these guys on defense as well, right? And so and offense, because like you said, with their wide receiver who just got what's his name? Will Anderson is
right. He's the highest paid.
Oh no, he just got paid, right?
He just got paid. Yeah, he got his rookie extension.
So it's gonna kick in next year, I think.
Right, next year it kicks in.
So Stingley got paid too, I believe.
Yeah, Stingley out of the 3, he got paid first, and then Will got paid after that.
Will. So, and then you got CJ, and you got but you do need to allocate some of that money to a running back. You do need to find, I'm sure our offensive lineman is gonna need some of that bread. So I just you can't just sign him for 60, especially if you're not getting past that wild card or getting past that second round divisional, I should say.
Right, but it's good that the Texans are. But I will say this though: salute to the Texans GM, right, for getting those extensions done early.
Yeah, for sure.
So now that money that you have on the books, right, you kind of can. I feel as if CJ Stroud's contract, right, it's not going to be that hard to negotiate because you say, hey, we have this much money allocated on the books. So, like I said, it's interesting to see, but like I said, Bo Nix is the key factor to all of this shit here.
Yeah, him getting paid first is definitely going to set the market for what like a guy like CJ Stroud is gonna make. So, but shout out to him. I don't hate on CJ Stroud. He is a rival of mine, of course, but I fucked with him at Ohio State, and also, I just think he's a good quarterback. He can throw the ball. He just, the last we saw of him was fucking crazy. And then we just saw him walking in the training camp, the video don't help. So it's like, we got to see what he does during camp and how he starts this season off. And hopefully he can have a solid year and lose to the Colts once, maybe twice. But otherwise, man, ball out. You know what I'm saying? Get your bread. I'm not saying he don't deserve $60 million. I don't give him the money. I'm just right. You obviously got to be smart if you're Houston and pay him what he's worth. Plus, give him the benefit of we haven't had a quarterback like J1 said, and you've been the light for us for the last 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Like he deserves a check, but the number you're gonna have to be a little stingy with, depending on you gotta, because wins matter, you know what I'm saying, and playoff performance matters at the end of the day. So it's just a fun conversation to talk about. But if anybody else has anything, they got a question in the chat real quick before we get up out of here, you can let us know. But it's looking like we reached that point where we at the 125. I didn't think we was gonna get the 125.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah, I feel like that shit flew by. So shout out to you, bro. Speaking of the Jets, real quick, Yusuf said, hold on. I ending the show on some goddamn Jets talk. He really wanted to
on the Jets, bro.
5 more minutes. We did.
Oh yeah, Plaxico ain't the Jets fan. Like, yeah, what? Yeah, bro. Yes,
I did see that. That was fun.
I did see that. Yeah, bro. Bro, listen. I will say this though. Plaxico really fucked that shit up as a Giants fan, bro. Because we was going back to back. Motherfucker, he had to go shoot himself in the fucking leg, bro. All right, so I don't want to hear shit about Plaxico Burress anymore.
Darrelle Revis said we should have never signed him.
Real nigga. Exactly, real nigga. And that's why he's in the hall. I love Darrelle Revis, man. Favorite Jet of all time, bro.
Real quick, if you want to just, do you have like a
my MVP? All right, I will say, all right. You know what? Because I believe there's two MVPs. There's the regular offensive MVP, and then there's the fantasy MVP. Shout out to so I think the offensive MVP this year, I think
it's a quarterback, by the way.
It's gonna be a quarterback. So it's either, to me, okay, wild card pick. If you want to make some money Vegas wise, I'd say Bo Nix.
I'm not agreeing with that.
No, he has. Vegas. I ain't gonna lie. That I put some money down on Bo Nix, bro. I ain't gonna front. That's some good money. But realistically, I would say I'm gonna run it back, bro. I think it's gonna be JT, bro. Jonathan Taylor, bro. I don't think they're giving it to the running back, man, especially a guy on the Colts. I don't believe, like, and I respect it. I appreciate it. I respect it. So for example, right, let's say
he leads the league in rushing and the Colts make the playoffs, like, you got a fair shot, yes. But when a guy like Josh Allen comes out and balls again, I like the league to respect Josh Allen and what he's
give another one. Yeah. I think
Lamar's got two.
Yeah, I think so. I think
I also look for a guy like Joe Burrow to come out swinging. You know what I'm saying, and go for a MVP award. But I'm gonna go Josh Allen. If I had to put money on it, I think the safe pick for me, Josh Allen. That's where I'll put my money at right now, before seeing anything. Obviously his wide receiver room isn't the same as what it was in years past, but again, that's what makes him great, because he can, get the ball to a bunch of different guys and also run the ball a shit ton.
Bro, but listen, but he, like I said, yeah, that's true, because Josh Allen did elevate that wide receiver staff. That is really a 2-pack of ass.
Yeah.
So
offensive rookie of the year.
Like I said, now that depends on opportunity for me. It depends all on opportunity for me. Like I said, I think it's going to be Jeremiah Love. I think it's going to be Love, but I don't think Mendoza's not going to play the full season.
Right. But I just, to me, the Cardinals, I don't know who.
They're gonna be fun. They're gonna be like I will say.
No, they are, but I don't know that Jeremiah Love's gonna. I feel like he's gonna get that Ashton Genty kind of vibe. Like, it's gonna be a little tough sledding over there, trying to find some holes to run through.
Right, but I wouldn't be surprised if he, for fantasy wise. I wouldn't be surprised in fantasy if he's RB1 at the end of the year. I would not. That would not surprise me.
No. Oh, fantasy. I don't know.
That would not surprise, because people forget too about Jeremiah Love.
Jahmyr Gibbs, bro. Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not putting him over Jahmyr and B.
No. But I'm saying, like, if Love were RB1 towards the end of the year, would I be shocked at that? No.
I hear you. I mean, the usage is going to be crazy, but right now they're still saying, like, they're even leaning into James Conner's still there. You know what I'm saying? Like, James Conner's still there.
But is Conner healthy? Can he finish a season? Conner hasn't finished a season in like the past 4 years.
He'll start one, though. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of goes to that Mendoza.
And they also got Algier. They also got Tyler Algier too, who's also been at 1K. He's also a serviceable backup, and we already know he's gonna get touches, especially in the goal line.
I like Carnell Tate with Cam Ward to be a very useful guy and gonna get a lot of looks over there in Tennessee. So
right. I like Jordan Tyson as well. Mm-hmm. I like Jordan Tyson as well. Like I said, that wide receiver 1 spot for the Saints is up for grabs. Like I said, Chris Olave, he's always hurt. So if Tyson, gets into a groove, I wouldn't be surprised if he's rookie of the year.
And then on defense, real quick, I don't know if like Sonny Styles or like a Arvell Reese. I'm thinking either Arvell or Sonny Styles.
I think Caleb Downs is going to be a defensive.
Oh, I'm super tripping. Yeah, Caleb Downs.
I think he is just because, like I said, I think the impact he's going to have overall on that defense is gonna show.
And they've got Cowboys got like 6 primetime games this year, so
yeah. So they're going to be showing. They're going to show. Yeah. So I agree.
Well, I will leave it there. We'll pick up next week or later this week if we can. But appreciate y'all listening, man. They got Bain I like that. Bain or David Wilson.
Or Wilson, yeah, I like that too.
David Wilson was. Am I tripping? Wilson. But Ruben Bain got an 80 in Madden, which is shout out to Ruben Bain coming from the U, getting that.
Yeah, but I could I could see him winning defensive rookie of the year too. It's possible too. He's a Vegas dark horse for defensive rookie of the year too. Ruben Bain, Vegas dark horse. So hey, I'm with that too.
Yeah, shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all listening. Yeah, Wilson on the jet. Appreciate y'all, man. We know we love y'all the long way. Yusuf, J1, all y'all boys in the chat. Ray, Jay, appreciate y'all, man. Yes, sir. We out.
All right, Joe. I'll see you, bro.
Yo.